Welcome back to Season 2 of Sailing Sitka. We are Jay and Kenna, two young Canadians who stepped outside the box of comfort and decided to act on their ambitions of sailing around the world. We first set sail from Victoria, BC, Canada, and have been adventuring around Mexico ever since. In this season, we'll be sailing on, further south and closer towards our dreams of exploring everywhere the sea touches. So sit back, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. We have finally made it back on the water, where both us and Sitka belong. The feeling is like none other, and as much as we want to relax and enjoy being at anchor again, we are kicking into high gear right away to get Sitka provisioned for her first sail of the season. This includes a giant grocery run, which, if you're a sailor yourself, you know the exhausting and frustrating Tetris game it is to put food away on a boat. Secondly is fuel, which here in Wymus is extremely easy as it's only a minute dinghy ride away from the anchorage. Last provision before we go. Feeling pretty damn good about that. While coming back to our boat from running errands, we can't help but be in awe. The hard work we put into her for the last 3 weeks is over, and we're finally only a day away from picking up the hook and setting sail once again. First morning waking up at anchor, you guys. The feeling is pretty surreal.
Yeah, it feels super nice, and luckily for us, this is a very, very calm and relaxing anchorage.
Thank God.
And like, I slept so good just knowing that like everything went well yesterday. Like, it was a long day, getting on the slings, painting the rest of the bottom, getting put in the water, turned around, and it's super narrow and shallow.
Yeah.
Where like you see less than a foot under the keel, so it's kind of nerve-wracking. And then you're making sure everything's good, like making sure all the sounds are normal. And then we get to the anchorage, and then we have to like, it starts to get quite windy, and then we have to put our forestay on, the furler. This morning we put up the Genoa because it was dead flat calm, so like 7 a.m. we went on deck, put up the Genoa, which went well. It's been a lot of work, like 17 days in the yard this time, but we also spent 6 days in the yard before flying back to Canada. So like in total it was like 23 days on the hard of like, you know, 10 to 12 hour days. And we go hard, like we don't really stop. Like a few of the workers actually at the yard commented on that. Like the
saying
fact
that we work so hard.
Yeah.
So you guys are probably wondering what the hell we're up to next. Well, we are actually going to be crossing the sea, and our first anchorage we're going to is Santa Rosalia.
Yeah, which is a tiny little French-inspired town on the Baja side of the Sea of Cortez. So it's somewhere we've never been. It's quite far north from the places we've been in the Sea of Cortez, which was the furthest north we went really in the Sea of Cortez exploring the like nice places was Partida.
Yeah.
So this is like hundreds of miles north of that. So that's going to be super cool. And then our plan is to like basically sail our way slowly down towards La Paz and explore all these amazing little nooks and crannies. And so that's pretty much it for now. And then that's pretty much the update. Good morning, guys. It's 8:30 here on Sunday. We just went to Fonatura Marina here to drop off the last of our garbage and filled up these 2 little cans of water. It's non-drinking water, but it's perfect for us to shower. And now we're just gonna basically put the dinghy on deck and secure everything so we can go to sea here in like 2 hours. So let's get this party started. Perfect. All right, guys, first anchor lift of the season. So we're crossing the Sea of Cortez, but because we're quite north, it's a way smaller crossing. So it's only like 85 miles about, like as the crow flies, so a bit longer sailing.
Yeah.
But we'll just pull up the bridle right now and then put that away and then put up the rest of the main anchor. The only thing is our windlass is kind of like sticky at the moment, so it might take us a minute. I'll have to probably clean it at some point here. The brushes are probably dirty. So anyways, let's get that.
Oh, there we go.
It's binded on the shackle.
Oh shit.
That's I've never seen this.
Oh wow. You got it.
Yeah. Oh God, hold the hammer.
Okay, not the easiest start. Now we have all of this muddy mess, and I know what you're thinking, why aren't you using your pump yet? The washdown pump, it's not wired yet. Not the best, but that's okay. Good old-fashioned scrubbing doesn't hurt anybody, right? Oh, it's so muddy. Look at this. Ah. Okay, let's get to it.
Right now we're doing 4.9 to 5.1 knots and we're at 1800 RPM, which honestly with our little prop, that never happened last season. So it's nice to see that Sitka's fresh bottom is helping a lot. So normally our cruising RPM is 2200. So once we're out of here, I don't want to go at that RPM right now because I don't want to take over that vessel up on our starboard side. But once we're outside the harbor, I'll test it out and see how fast she goes. Hopefully 5.5, 6 would be sweet.
Just when we were starting to enjoy being underway again, Jay found a stream of red liquid licking into our bilge and immediately jumped into action.
Alright, so we don't seem to be leaking coolant anymore. So where it's coming off is what I suspected last season. It's our old loops that go to the old hot water tank. And it's weird because the ball valves are closed, so like that whole part of the pipe should be isolated. So maybe like the ball valves, like with extreme heat, they're like letting a little bit of coolant pass, especially when it's pressurized and reaches its pressure. So it leaks about a cup every time. But what the problem with that is that you can airlock your coolant and then you're not actually getting coolant through the engine. All you're getting is basically the salt water cooling your exhaust, but not actually circulating and cooling the entire engine, which is kind of not good. So, and you can't really open, the problem is when you run your engine, you can't open the coolant cap to add coolant. It's under pressure and it's super hot, so you have to wait several hours for it to cool down to then open the cap. So not an ideal thing to have happen at sea. Luckily this passage ain't too long, and worst case it's gonna take a bit longer, but we'll try to sail most of it. So as soon as we get out here, the nav area, I lowered the engine a bit because I had it up to 2000, so I'm back to 1600, 1700 now, 1800. And monitoring the temperature. It is hot, but it's not overheating, touching wood. And once we get out there, Hopefully we get a bit of wind. Right now most of the wind we're getting is from us actually motoring. So hopefully the wind picks up a bit and we can sail and turn the engine off and assess the situation further.
Raising the main for the first time underway after installing a modified Tides Marine track felt amazing. All of that work and money that we put into this piece of equipment is paying off right in front of our eyes. It's simple to say that we feel very accomplished and proud of ourselves. Well, that's a frickin' win. Track went up beautifully.
Yeah, which is nice. Very nice. Now it looks like the wind, we'll see when we clear that headland, but the wind, we need to go where that black line is. So we're here, and this is where our friends are, and they weren't able to go to Rosalia because it's pointing to upwind, which I can see why right now. But we'll see, because that's a track we try to make, and this is like, so yeah, it'd be on the other tag. We'll wait till we pass that headland here, see what happens.
We're officially sailing. So we have 2 reefs in the Genoa, 1 reef in the main. It's a bit sportier than Navionics told us, but what's new? But other than that, Tides Marine track, friggin' hell yeah. Sail went up like a beauty. The coolant hasn't been leaking as much lately, which is good. Now that the engine's off. We're doing about 5.5, which is lovely. And Santa Rosalia is about 80 miles out, but we're not too sure if we're going to be able to point high enough for that. So yeah, that's our update.
All right, hydrovane is steering. We got the lure in from a cedar plug. Hopefully that hits. We're sailing on a single reefed main and a double reefed 130 Genoa. So pretty much working jib and 1 reef in the main. It's starting to, it gusts a bit. Like we were reaching 7 knots and now we're like more at 5.5, which is totally fine. Hopefully this wind stays and veers a bit more from the north and less from the west, so we can actually point where we need to go. I think we might not be able to make it to Santa Rosalia unless we want to tack for 2 days. So we might just head south of there to the other anchorage where our friends Wayne and his kids are. So that might be what we do here. We're gonna wait a little longer to figure out if the wind shifts or not. But yeah, pleasant sailing right now. Kenna's a tiny bit seasick, but she hasn't puked. She's able to eat chips, so that's a big improvement from last year when we started sailing offshore. So that's good. Apart from that, yeah, apart from the engine, everything's going pretty good. Like the main was super easy to put up. We put a reef. That was the easiest reef we've ever put in, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like, we didn't come off the wind either. Like, cause like a lot of times offshore, like we put a reef on whatever course we're going. And yeah, that was super easy. Obviously, like if we're like downwind, we're not gonna put a reef like that, but we were already kind of beating, so that was fine. But yeah, it went super smooth. So yeah, that's the little update right now. We just started our watches basically. we tend to not start watches until we're actually kind of like out of like the navigational areas. So like by navigational areas I mean like where you have like, you know, you have to follow a track basically to get in and out of a harbor. So whatever the transit takes, we were both kind of on watch for that. Yeah. And then once we get out and we set the sails and we turn the autopilot on and have the wind vane on and the sails are up, that's usually when we, okay, like the watches kind of start there, and then we do 4 on, 4 off. So I'm gonna do the first one, noon to 4. Kenna usually likes to be off the first one so she can kind of get her sea legs. And yeah. This bird's trying to land. This bird's trying to land on the mast. You're like, nobody. And then he's getting his friends. George, enough, George. Yeah, soar like an eagle, Eddie. You got this, boy. Oh, look at Kenna. Kenna got her puff balls.
Leave me alone.
There's this little bakery in Guaymas that when we were here last year, before hauling out, we would go to, like, shame to admit, but every day, and get 1 or 2 of these packs of puffs. They're so good. They're so good. And they're like filled with like so yummy. This is a good sign. Kenna doesn't eat that much when she's really seasick, so 6 knots right now. And hydrovane steering. We got a full Genoa out, so 130 and 1 reef in the main. I'll go show you on deck what it looks like right now. So this is pretty decent. Sitka's a pretty dry boat. It takes quite a bit of swell to get water on deck. It does happen once in a while here with the bigger waves. That's something you got to get used to when you're sailing offshore, not even just offshore, anywhere actually. Your boat will make some noises, and some of them are normal and some of them aren't. And once you know the sound of your boat and different winds, you know just by the sound of things when you need to put a reef in, or when things get under tension and they need your attention. So let's go down below. And then already behind the Dodger, it's a lot quieter, but inside, so on Sitka we have a hydraulic gearbox, so we can't lock the shaft, so we can't put the shaft in reverse to lock it. So that means our shaft is always free spinning, which does create a lot of noise, especially when you're going fast. So I'll show you guys that. So that sound you're hearing, that's the shaft spinning. So if I open this, see the shaft is spinning right now, and that's that sound. Kenna's sleeping right now on her off watch, and we're a bit on a heel right now, as you can tell, the lamp and puck there. And if we look outside, see waves. And then this is the high side, so the head's on the high side. Yeah, so it's not too bad down below, which is really nice. Okay guys, the wind is increasing again. We're going over 7 right now, so I'm gonna put a reef in. So I'll show you guys how I do this by myself. So it's not ideal because I leave the wind vane engaged. So what I do is I'll ease the Genoa a tiny bit, not too much. Then I go on the furling line, which is on a winch. So now we're at working jib. There we go. All right guys, it's 3:45 p.m. Nothing changed in the sail so far. It's still super windy, but we're doing good. 6.5. Says we're gonna be at my point before making the turn at between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m., which is almost too early, but The entrance to that place doesn't seem too bad. It's like a big beach. So if we come in at night, we come in at night, and I'm not too worried about it. So anyways, because we can't make it to Santa Rosalia. So if we were going to Santa Rosalia, I'd definitely want to get in there in the daytime, but we can't point high enough, and I'm not tacking for like, it's just not the boat to do this kind of thing in. So yeah, we're gonna go south, and that's perfect because that's exactly the anchorage where our friends are at. So anyways, it's 3:45. I gotta go wake up Kenna because it's her watch in 15 minutes. So let's go give her a shake. Hey, my love. My love. Hi, my love. It's your watch. Hun? Huh? It's your watch in 15. No. Yes. It's your watch in 15, my love. Kenna hates shakes. You want to speak to the camera?
I love sailing.
Put it on, and then put your winch on and winch. Alright guys, so it's nothing too exciting, just some buns and some sausage. That's plenty exciting in these conditions right now.
Our first sail of the season was both exciting and full of surprises. We found some things that were unexpected, and we are now headed for an entirely different anchorage than when we first intended, but that's just sailing. You quickly realize out here that you're at the mercy of nature, in an environment where things can break, leak, or completely change. All you can do is make the best of it and adjust your sails accordingly. So we ended up dropping the hook in Shavato around 4 a.m. when it was still pitch black. So please stay tuned for next week, where we explore our very first anchorage of season 2. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, and we thank you very much for watching. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Sailing Sitka. Stick around for more to come. If you enjoyed, please spread the love and let us know. Special thank you to our Patreon members for making these videos possible, as well as helping our dreams come true. See you all next week.